And now joining us here on the Full Court Press, AJ Knight, myself, is the new head coach of the Utah State men's basketball team. It is Coach Ryan Odom. Coach, thanks for your time. Greatly appreciate you, and welcome to Logan.
Hey, thanks so much. So excited to be here. Thankful.
How many interviews have you done? I mean, are you just sick of talking?
No, not at all. I love talking ball.
We could talk NFL draft.
I love talking about Utah State and the Aggies and this new opportunity here.
Coach, well, let's do it.
Excited.
Can you just talk about the interview process with Mr. Hartwell? I got to call him Mr. Hartwell. He got mad at me today. John Hartwell, and just what that was like. And you said in the press conference today you felt like there was a mutual feeling of a fit. Can you explain on that?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I meant what I said today, too. I mean, I think he's one of the best athletics directors in the country. He's extremely – I didn't elaborate on what I meant there in the press conference, but, I mean, he's extremely competitive. He wants to win. He's trying to remove obstacles for his coaches in order to give them the best chance for success. Certainly there's clearly an investment here in basketball. And, when he and I were sitting together and visiting, it was apparent that, we clicked, and you kind of know if you're a match for one another, if you're not, if you can work together. And because ultimately that's what this is. It's a partnership. I mean, again, it's not one coach, one athletics director, one player. It's a collaborative effort in order to win championships. And, I'm excited to move forward and partner with John.
Coach, I'm sure, normally it is a monumental task, I think, to make the adjustment coming in and talking to the assistants and players of a new program. But with the transfer year this year as well, I think it's another wrench added into the hurdles you have to get over to adjust and start setting up the program the way you want. Take us inside what the process has been like as you try to set this up and move forward into next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing you have to do is communicate effectively with your team and your new team. And this is my third time doing this, and the transfer portal did not exist, for Division II when I first took that program over. But we had a couple of guys that chose to, move on and go elsewhere. And I think is that destined to happen here? There'll be some turnover. Already has been, obviously, that will happen. But at the same time, we want to make sure that Utah State, is an elite program. And we have a lot to sell here, at Utah State. And we've got guys in our program right now that understand how to win, that love this school. And so it's my job to get in there and be genuine with them. Try to get to know them, and that's really where I'm going to spend my efforts, over the next couple of weeks until they're done, done with school. Obviously, we've got to get on the recruiting trail. We've got to fill the remaining scholarships that we have with the right, fit for, our program. And part of that is figuring out what we need, and the only way to do that is to dig in with film and to dig in with time on the court together and figuring out what are the strengths that we have here. I mean, that's really all I'm looking for. I'm not really looking for the weaknesses. I want to know what the strengths are, and then how can we, fill in around those strengths and accentuate those strengths. And so that's my job there. And then also, from a staffing standpoint, this is the furthest west, obviously, I've been, so I've got to do what's right for Utah State and hire a staff worthy of working here, and a staff that can continue to build upon the success that has been established here by Coach Smith and his staff.
Coach, is there any interest in recruiting overseas? Are you into that? Do you have connections to it?
Absolutely. I mean, we had guys basically every year that I've coached. We've had guys that are from overseas, international kids. We had two kids on my most recent team at UMBC that were from London. One was a starting center when we beat Virginia. He was a freshman that year, and the other was a point guard. He's about 6'3", good player. He was a first-team all-conference player this past year. So yeah, I mean we do have connections, overseas, and certainly there's there's quite a few kids on our current roster that are from overseas, which is a good thing. The basketball overseas is excellent. I mean, it's really our world is much smaller now. Especially with social media and the internet and the ability to see kids on film now. It definitely changes things.
Coach Odom, new head coach of the Utah State men's basketball team. Coach, being a transfer, someone not from the state of Utah as well, was one of the things that was really interesting from high school to college sports, learning about the differences with the missionaries and stuff. How are you preparing to deal with that? Because that's got to be sort of unusual for you in terms of the offset timeline and recruiting in state.
Yeah, I mean, I actually love it. I mean, I think it's a niche for us, obviously, and that's a poor way of saying it, but I mean, I think it's a match. There's certain schools that are, you take a Stanford, it's a high academic school. Certain kids just match that school because they're, insanely smart and fit that school, and they can play ball. Here, we've got that LDS, kids that naturally are drawn to, a Utah State, and obviously the mission that kids go on nowadays. I mean, they come back, having experienced, life that the normal freshman, doesn't experience. And they come back, more worldly, more ready to give of themselves, more ready to be coached and do for others. And I'm excited about that. And, the more I've read up on it, it's an extreme positive for us, and I'm excited that we have it.
How cool is it that you actually get to be 85 minutes south of your brother, who's a scout for the Utah Jazz? I know you've talked about this ad nauseum and in spade, but I just think that's such a great connection that your brother's a Jazz scout, and here you are at Utah State.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, he's obviously extremely thankful for the opportunity that Dennis Lindsey and Quinn Snyder have given him, and he's all about the Jazz, and we have been too since Quinn went to Utah, and I'm pulling for them this year. They're obviously having an amazing season, and hopefully that they'll continue to play that way, through the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Coach, without giving away any the secret sauce or secret recipes, what can fans expect offensively and defensively for what you kind of want to implement for Utah State?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an aggressive style offensively. It's a versatile game that we play. I love guys that can dribble, pass, and shoot. I know that sounds pretty simple, but not everybody can do that. Like certain guys are rebounders, certain guys are this or that, defenders. But I like to be able, I think you're more versatile. Your team's harder to guard when you can get into offense quickly. That's when the defense is not set. And so we'll push the ball, but we'll opportunistically, but we'll also, be very mindful of taking the right shots for our team. And certainly we'll go at matchups, that we feel are favorable for us. And it's about finding the advantage and keeping the advantage. I mean, that's what our goal is every time down. It's, where's the advantage? Let's try to get it quickly, and then we've got to keep it and get the other team scrambling defensively to keep up.
Coach, I know they're your peers now, but we've seen a lot of name changes next to the head coaches in the Mountain West. What can you tell us from your perspective now moving into this conference about what the attitude is from being outside and now joining it, especially now with a lot more talent, I think, joining the coaching rankings in your conference?
Yeah, it's a great league. I mean, first and foremost, it's one of the most respected leagues in the country. And, obviously you've got the Power Fives, and then just outside of the Power Fives, Mountain West is right there year in and year out. And you've got great coaches in this league. You've got seasoned coaches, veteran coaches. You've got some younger guys, that are coming in and have done great things. And so I know that the coaches in this league are certainly going to make me a better coach. And, I had that at both stops, and they're great coaches everywhere. I coached against some amazing coaches in Division II, the year that I coached at Lenore Ryan. One of them just got the job at Indiana State, Josh Schertz, who won a ton of games, at Lincoln Memorial. And the America East coaches push me, each and every day. I know this will be no different. And you've got 3 former coaches' sons, I think, in this league now. There might be a 4th, I'm not sure, but I know Kruger, Patino, and Odom. It's pretty good company there.
Coach, time's wrapping up for us, unfortunately, but I do got one more question. You had a chance to meet with the players, and I know you did a Zoom call with them before you were able to get here. Can you talk about what your first impression of these kids are, especially leaders like Justin Bean and Brock Miller?
Yeah, I mean, just they're men. They're extremely mature. I mean, that was my first impression of them. They were not afraid to talk. Sometimes when you get in those situations and those first moments where you're introduced to folks, everybody's kind of looking around the room, who's going to say something. And, I think they all kind of in their own way step to the front. And so we've got a mature group here, guys that, are very verbal and clearly care about one another. Or they're a connected group. And so we've got to build upon that. And we've got to make sure that we're doing our best as a coaching staff to not only maintain that, all right, but improve upon it, that connectivity. And the only way you do that is you spend time together. The more time that you spend together, the better chance you have of being more connected. And I was extremely impressed with that first Zoom, with the guys, and then the first meeting today with them. They handled themselves extremely well.
Coach, it's been an honor and pleasure to have you on our show. Greatly appreciate it. Fastest 10 minutes I've had in a long time here on this show, that's for sure. Thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to hearing from you down the road and look forward to basketball season coming up soon.
Thanks, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Coach.